What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the NFC North Roundtable here, a post-free agency edition of the NFC North Roundtable, as free agency never truly ends, but I think the big first wave of free agency has ended. So we can go back to the host and get everybody's thoughts about what happened throughout the week. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Everything that went on right before the NFL draft gets here, and just I think the NFL draft is like 5 or 6 weeks away, so it gets here pretty quickly. So we'll go ahead and get to all of the hosts. What's going on, fellas?
What's up? It's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. All right. So, yeah, we'll just go around the table. I mean, just get some people's thoughts about what their team did. So we can start with the Detroit Lions with Dose of Dion over here. What have been some moves that the Lions have made since last week's show?
So first off, man, it's good to see you on here. I see you on my Instagram all the time. So it's like, it's kind of like meeting a celebrity a little bit, you know?
I know. I'm out here.
Always on my stories.
Instagram, TikTok, all the stuff, man. We're out here.
Dude, I love it, man. All right. So I think the biggest thing is, first off, one bar, we got your guy, DJ Wanham. Welcome to the squad. Made the move.
I wanted him back.
I like it. Well, we brought him in. That was and you know what? We'll see. I'll save my one for the one I didn't like, but it's going to tie together to this pretty well. So we had a DJ Wanham, and then right before we got on here, Damone Clark and also Greg Dortch. Both those guys were one-year additions. Really, as a whole, this whole free agency has, in some ways, kind of become like the first year of this whole era. Like the first year the Lions were here, they had no money. So it was like, do you extend? At the time, it was Romeo Okwara or Kenny Galladay. We did Okwara. Neither of them worked anyway, so it's fine. But outside of that, it was just one-year deals across the board. And that's kind of what this free agency has been across the board for the Lions, the exact same thing, just one-year deals. And now it's just maybe a little bit younger players. Same positions. It's like, hey, no longer Khalif, now it's Greg Dortch. But just going a little bit younger, guys that are unproven, and then we'll see if they connect here and maybe they earn an extension. And that's really what these last two moves to me have signified is special teams value. It's the approach. We had lost Grant Stewart in free agency. For some reason, he was our kick returner at one point. It never looked good. I have no idea why that was I don't know. I think it was like one of those things where it's like it's a game in practice. You put the big guy back. Let's see what it looks like. And for some reason, they thought it looked awesome. So they just rolled with it until he kept fumbling. He was like, this is not it. But now we go out and we had Damone Clark, who maybe can do some of the similar things that he brought. He makes me think of a little bit of Jalen Reeves-Maybin as long as he's healthy. Don't know how much we'll actually see him defensively, but I guess the door's open for that to happen. And then on the flip side, Greg Dortch. I actually think this one, as surprising as it is, because I love Khalif, I think this one could be an upgrade over Khalif Raymond. I think there's a potential for that, just for what Khalif's role was with us. Khalif never had a really big role in offense. I loved him. Guy got open all the time, but never had a big role because he never really got the ball downfield. Unless it was like a design to go to him vertically, it was like, hey, he's not going to really ever get involved until a couple of games. And he would come through. He was very reliable with his hands, and he was a really good punt returner for us. But Dortch has been that. Dortch has been very reliable with his hands, good punt returner, good kick returner. He's actually been more involved as a kick returner than Khalif really ever was once that started becoming a bigger thing in the NFL again. So I actually think that one has a path to being better. And then, of course, as mentioned, DJ Wanham, we let Al-Quadi Muhammad walk in free agency. I thought he was going to get a lot more than that. The dude they sang up to $6 million. These could be similar contracts, and the Lions went a different direction. I think the biggest thing people are pointing to is maybe more run defensive impact. They trust him to take a lot more of those snaps. I think that's what people are going to point to. But stylistically, there's a ton of similarities between the two, how they win as rushers, winning with angles, slither, that kind of thing, and also playing as stand-up outside backers as well. So I think across the board, it just feels like we're kind of going back towards the beginning of what this all looked like, and it's just weird to be doing it in like year 6 now. But it's fun.
So what do you think is the singular best move that your team has made? I mean, maybe it is a free agency signing, or maybe it's even letting like a player walk. I mean, throughout the last week, what would you say is the best move the Lions have made?
You in total, or just the last couple of moves?
I would just say in total since the free agency tampering window opened.
That's good. It's tough, man. I feel like I don't know if that's the best move. I think the center, Cade Mays, is going to be the best and most impactful addition. That just makes sense because we paid him the most, so that should be the case. But I would probably go with a guy like Christian Izien. I think for what we are looking for stylistically, we had Amik Robertson walking free agency, get another one-year contract, but he's kind of a nickel, kind of a safety. I think he'll be viewed as a safety for us. And then obviously we turned around and grabbed Roger McCreary, so maybe he's more of kind of the nickel piece. But I think a guy like Izien brings a lot of value because you're going to see from jump, there's a good chance well, we're not going to have Branch to begin the year. And there's a legitimate chance. I don't know when Kirby's going to be on the field. So right away, it's going to be who are these guys at safety? And he could come in and play a very big role for us. I always felt with Tampa, he was kind of utilized weird whenever he had to play slot. It's like, hey, you're capable of doing it, but that's probably not your thing. Then they drafted Parrish, and now you don't really need that anymore. But with us, it's a valuable spot. Last we did it with Maddox. He went from slot to playing safety. I think Izzian's going to be a safety for us, and I think he'll be impactful.
I don't know, man. I think maybe Daniel Thomas, safety one. We'll just have to see.
You know what I mean? We got guys now. We're a little loaded now. Okay,
we got guys, man. We got depth.
We got depth. Yes, we do.
So is there any move that the Lions have made that you have not liked?
So, of course, I mean, I think everybody would agree with me on this one. We didn't bring back Davenport. I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you. At this point, it's like at some point, this has to happen. Now, I don't know. I don't think he signed anywhere yet, so maybe we're just working out the fine details. It's going to be a massive contract extension. But that's the one I'm waiting for. And until that happens, I'll be a little disappointed because I still do got the shirt. And it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, you can wear a guy that was here at one point, but that's not one of those. It's not like, man, let me rock the Davenport, bring back some good memories. Like, no, we don't have those yet. Those are still waiting to be a thing. So I'm actually, weirdly enough, I'd love to see him get brought back. I think it'd be awesome. That said, I would say, that said, you get a little minimum contract. That's fine. I think the one that's that hurt the most would be, well, I don't want to say hurt the most, but could be the most impactful that we have to try to really replace is either going to be Alex Anzalone or Roy Lopez. I'd lean towards the Roy Lopez side. He was so valuable for us last year. I thought the contract that he got was well-deserved. He got a big pay bump. I think it was like 2 years, $6 million per. It's like, hey, that's a pretty good number. Like, that's what people thought it was going to look like. But the fact that he just went back to Arizona to go get that contract, I don't know if we were looking at giving him that same number or not, but we got him from Arizona. He was super valuable for us. And sometimes he was our best D tackle. It was like, hey, we got a young Tyleek. Reader kind of where he's at right now. Like, he was the most impactful piece for us at times. And I think to see him leave in free agency was at that contract exactly to the team that he was just with. That one probably hurt the most. That one's tough because it does open up it opens up a reasonable hole. I mean, because at this point, Aleem was not Aleem McNeil last year. I love Aleem. You have to expect that he's going to get back there because you paid him to. So you have to bet on that. But because he wasn't Aleem last year, which was very understandable off a very significant injury, because he wasn't that at that time, now you're looking at him getting back to himself, Mekhi Wingo potentially having a bigger role that we haven't seen yet, and Roy Lopez just was so good for us last year.
So last question before we move on, is there any kind of move that you wish the Lions would have made through free agency?
I mean, up to this today, probably because we were so quiet and just, it was just not, we had just big holes. And I still think at that point, there are still pieces that we need to plug in, but I think most of the positional needs, at least adding one piece to each of these spots, I think we've done fine. So I haven't had that. I still would have liked like a Kohu type of addition. I do still wonder, and the one position that I would keep an eye on is cornerback for us, just in general. I mean, Rock Yassin is now here. Roger McCreary's here. I wonder if they're going to throw something else at that position specifically, maybe at a different competition piece to that role. But I think they've really touched on every single positional group, kind of one player by positional group. So ultimately, I don't think there's I didn't come into this like hoping for kind of a big addition. And the only one I wanted to see was an offensive lineman, and they did that. Outside of that, what do they do at tackle? Are they locking themselves into one of our top two picks is going to be a tackle? Absolutely. Or do they feel like there's a chance that Larry Borum gets some starts next year? Say that's the biggest question mark on the team at this point.
Interesting. Yeah. So Lions trying to make their way back in the playoffs. So we'll see if some of these moves can pay off before the draft gets here. So next we'll go ahead and move on to the Packers. I know we got a super chat in here. It says Packers finished fourth because they suck. Skull. So I guess that will lead us off with the Packers over here. So, Bass, you got, different free agency moves. Has anything happened since we've run this show last week?
I don't believe anything noteworthy or too noteworthy. I know right before we started the show last week, the Packers had signed Javon Hargrave, which was kind of like their splash signing of free agency. Outside of that, the only couple things that I feel like they've done the past week, because it was a crazy week last week, but this week's been pretty quiet. They gave a little bit of an extension or restructure to Zaire Franklin, who they traded from the Colts, gave him a little bit of guaranteed money there. I believe it only affected his 2026 cap hit by like $100,000, but it just gave him a little bit of, investment there and guarantees. Outside of that, Rasheed Walker, I think, signed with the Panthers after our show. And that was a big one going into free agency because, I thought he'd get paid a decent amount of money. I think ESPN had him ranked as like the 5th highest rated free agent entering the class. And then we saw him kind of go through the first 2 days of free agency, not get signed. I know he's dealing with some legal issues, and I'm sure that played a toll, but The Packers are ready to move on from Rashid and plug Jordan Morgan in at left tackle. It's what they drafted him to do. It's just, I kind of expected Rashid to at least get like 15 million plus and net the Packers a 4th round, 5th round comp pick. He ended up getting 10 mil. And actually, I think it was even less than that because that was the initial report. And I'm looking at it now. It's like a $4 million cap hit. And that's pretty crazy. We were talking, at least I was, and I know a lot of people were thinking like, okay, last year we saw what Dan Moore got at left tackle. In my opinion, I think Rasheed Walker's better than Dan Moore. So the fact that he got paid like $4 million cap hit for the Panthers, I feel like you could have just retained him for that. I know you want to move forward with Jordan Morgan, but having good tackle depth is great. Outside of that, I think they re-signed a depth tight end and Josh Wiley. Couple exclusive rights free agents in Bo Melton and Kamal Hadden, but nothing too crazy. The Packers made like all their moves at the beginning of last week and really just ever since last Wednesday in our show, nothing much.
So what do you think is the best move that the Packers have made?
Oh man. I feel like I'm not going to say Hargrave, even though I do like that move. I think it is Benjamin St-Juste. It's kind of like the underrated one here. And I think it's also because you tie a monetary value to it, right? Like Hargrave signed that 2-year, $23 million deal, and there's more guarantees tied to it. Still a very manageable deal. Like it comes in at like a 7.5 cap hit this year. But Benjamin St-Juste, I mean, if you look at it, it's so affordable. Like his cap hit comes in at 3.4 mil this year. It's like 1.1% of the cap. And then next year it comes in at 6.5 mil, but it's basically no guarantees. So the Packers can move on if it doesn't work. But in terms of like St-Juste, what I think he's going to bring to this defense, he played under, I think 350 snaps for the Chargers last year, but what really intrigues me is the Chargers defensive scheme is very similar to what Jonathan Gannon's going to run here. They run a lot of cover four match off zone. And that's where St-Juste, I think, succeeds. I think in Washington, we saw that them try to, stretch him between multiple positions and multiple schemes. We saw Ron Rivera even try to play him in the nickel back in the day. And I think St-Juste just really wasn't utilized correctly in Washington. Then we kind of saw a glimpse of it last year in LA, and to get him into the building in a group that has a lot of question marks. You have Keyshawn Nixon, who I personally like, a lot of Packers fans don't, but for the money we're paying him, I think it's fair value. And then you have Carrington Valentine, who's the definition of streaky and inconsistent. Like some weeks you're like, this guy's a dog. Other weeks he's missing every single tackle and it goes for like a 40-yard touchdown. You're like, get this guy off the field. Outside of that, there's not really any depth. You had Nate Hobbs, you cut him because they're trying to play him at outside when he's a nickel corner, but you already have Javon Bullard. So you really had no depth. We're an injury away from Bo Melton actually getting cornerback snaps. So I don't know if you guys knew, but like Bo Melton switched to cornerback last year, never got any snaps at it, actually ended up getting receiver snaps again at the end of the year due to injury. But there's a realm where like Bo Melton could be playing some corner if the Packers didn't go out and sign some depth in this free agency, and they'll draft one too. But I really, really like that signing because the value, he's a tall, rangy corner, 6'3", 205. I think it's a great move. And I also really like, someone commented it, Gary Gone. I like them trading Rashawn Gary and getting a draft pick overall. Like they were going to cut him. We were going to cut him. So getting a draft pick, I think, is massive.
Oh, absolutely. It's always good getting draft picks for players that you're not expecting to even be on a team going forward. So now that we said that, I mean, is there any move that the Packers did that you don't really like? I mean, maybe it's not going after a guy, or maybe just not re-signing a player in your own team, or maybe you brought in somebody that you don't like. Is there anything that you're critical of when it comes to that regards?
Yeah, so there's a few. I'll touch up on a few. I don't have like a specific one per se. I like all three players they brought in with St-Juste. Sky Moore, I think, adds a lot for the return game. Hargrave, I think, is a good pass rusher. In terms of players they brought back, I kind of an issue with the Sean Ryan contract a little bit. He's a guy that got paid more than Cade Mays, who the Lions got at center, and I like him. I liked Cade Mays. And he's played true center. He's played a lot of center. He's experienced at center. Where Sean Ryan has 9 career starts at center. We gave him 3-year, $33 million deal. So don't get me wrong. I think Sean Ryan is a fine offensive lineman. He's a versatile player that can play left guard, right guard, and center. And we spent a 3rd-round pick on him out of UCLA a few years back. So we made that investment already. But I think for $11 million average per year, I think that's just a little bit too rich for a player that you are putting a lot of bank on being your starting center of the future for at least the next 2 years, yet he's only played 9 games at center. Also, I already kind of mentioned it, Rasheed Walker. I was completely on board with him walking pun intended, but that $4 million cap hit, it's like, dude, you should have just brought him back. Because what if Jordan Morgan sucks? Because it's like we tried playing him at guards. We've played him at right tackle. He played some left tackle in the preseason, but we're banking a lot on that. Outside of him, you have Darian Kennard, who's not a left tackle. You have Anthony Belton, who's playing guard. So if Jordan Morgan sucks, do you kick Belton out and then figure out what the hell you're doing at guard? I don't know. I think the Packers will draft a tackle early or maybe sign a veteran between now and the draft just to kind of help that contingency plan there. But for that amount of money, man, it didn't make sense to let him go now that I see the contract. And finally, I think Kingsley Enagbare, Dion's favorite Green Bay Packer. This guy, I think he did get overpaid at 10 mil, but the Packers trading Gary and then letting Enagbare walk to the Jets, it just kind of leaves them with a very big question mark at edge right now. And I know this might be crazy to say because we have Micah Parsons, but what if the guy doesn't play week one? Then you're talking about Barron Sorrell and Lucas Van Ness as your starting edges week one. That's a problem. So there's a couple things that, I think they could have done differently, but overall I think it's pretty solid free agency start for the Packers.
So is there any one move that you wish they would have made?
Yeah. I think probably address tight end. I think they brought back Josh Wiley, which I know he was in your division, but I didn't think he did too much for Tennessee. He's a good depth player and a good locker room guy. But outside of that, Luke Musgrave entering year 3, Tucker Kraft entering year 3. Musgrave has not lived up to his second round draft choice. Tucker Kraft has definitely lived up to his third round, but he's coming off a torn ACL. So again, kind of similarly to Edge. Sure, you have one of the best tight ends in the league, just like Edge. You have one of the best in the league, but can they play week one? If they can't, and I think Tucker Kraft will, but you still need depth at that position. The Packers, I think, want to play a lot of 12 personnel. And if you have one injury, you're down to your last 2 tight ends. So I think maybe getting someone like Chiggy Okonkwo, I think would have really just been like, there we go for free agency in terms of offense, because really we didn't sign on offense outside of free agency. Like, yeah, Sky Moore, but I more so consider that a kick return special teams move, and then 2 defenders. So yeah, I think if they address tight end, maybe I think that would have been something I would have liked.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. So now we got to move on to one bar, man. You guys made a big move in this last week. Tell me all about your new punter, Johnny Hekker.
I'm way too. I will start with Johnny Hekker. I don't know why you guys can knock me down a few pegs. There's nothing better than having at least an entertaining punter or a kicker, and Johnny Hekker is absolutely that. I mean, I said this on a video yesterday, and of course I got murdered for it. But Johnny Hekker, I think he has a better quarterback rating than JJ McCarthy in his career. So we'll take it, man. We'll take it. Johnny Hekker coming in with the big old leg. One of our probably 4-5 moves the Vikings have made all year, and they did need a punter. Ryan Wright, the big hefty man, got snapped up by the Saints. So now this just alleviates a need, and Johnny Hekker is here, and he's no spring chicken, 36 years old, still punting that thing 46, 47 yards a punt. We'll take it. But the big boy is Kyler Murray. Last week when we were live, he was visiting the Vikings, and Kyler Murray, it's now obviously official, $1.3 million. He comes in. He's got to be he's going to be anointed the starter. They can say it's going to be a battle. If Kyler Murray loses, great. That means JJ McCarthy is all of a sudden fantastic. But Kyler Murray, it's his rodeo. A lot of Vikings fans very excited about just the fact that there's going to be legit competition. Very excited to the fact that, we can all dream, we can all hope that Kyler Murray just continues to play very consistently at that very high level that we have seen in the NFL. It's a big ask, but we will see. So he's coming in on that 1-year deal. And I mean, honestly, like if I'm a Vikings fan and someone else is in the same boat, whether it's the Lions, Packers, Bears, and they got a rookie quarterback that's struggling and they got some weapons on offense and they go sign Kyler Murray, I'm a little worried. I mean, I'm legit a little concerned as far as if he does play at a good level, this Vikings team could be pretty good. And like I say, that is a big ask. He has to be very consistent. And Kevin O'Connell, this is where you can prove to everybody that you actually have a little bit of a magic wand when it comes to quarterbacks. We will see. It is such a toss-up. I get excited about the thought of seeing him out there with Justin Jefferson. I mean, we saw J.J. McCarthy throwing 10-yard balls 10 yards over Justin Jefferson's head last year. So they're all going to say the right things. They're going to say the right, whatever they're going to say. But deep down, they're damn excited to see him out there. they still got a lot of work to do on this offense and defensively as well. But it's fantastic. And you know what? If he goes out there and has a great year, they're not going to do the same thing. They're not going to let him walk out of the building. They're not going to pull a Sam Darnold to Daniel Jones and let him go. And they'll pay him some big bucks. So we'll see. It's a win-win situation. And then they also put in an offer on the restricted free agent Bills, their offensive tackle yesterday, Ryan Vandemark. Swing tackle. Vikings need a swing tackle. They needed some depth. He is more I looked into him, I got a little more excited about him. He's some good depth. I hit up Dan Mitchell and said, give me the scoop. Are you guys going to re-sign him? Is he good? And he gave me the warm and fuzzies that we would be getting a good one. It sounds like it'd be about 50-50 that the Bills don't match this thing. So he would be a very, very good depth piece. But overall, Vikings very quiet in free agency. The big splashy move, it comes down to the quarterback position. Kyler Murray, we'll see what he does. They're not done. Rob Brzezinski, who is currently kind of the active GM right now, has pretty much said, like, buckle up. We still got a lot of moves under our belt, and it just screams towards maybe some trades because they don't have a ton of money, and there's not a ton of fantastic players out there yet that's going to really change the franchise.
Yeah, at least the GM isn't treating the team like the Dolphins, where they bring in Malik Willis and get rid of everybody around him, right? So you're
TD.
Yeah, you're already doing a little bit better than that. So we're going to continue with the Vikings and their free agency, but they made the big move for quarterback. So I'd love to just get the temperature of some other people around the division. So hey, we'll start with the Bears with Nick. Welcome to the show, by the way. If you win the division, you always get to show up 20 minutes late. That's the rules, right? So
usually the chat has a warning in it, but there wasn't any today. So apologies for being late.
Oh, it's all good. You don't have to apologize to me, okay? Apologize to TD. He's going to call and yell at you, okay? But on the rule, though. So, new quarterback in Minnesota. What do you think?
We talked about it last week. I think that hopefully this is their Sam Darnold 2.0. That's, I think, what Minnesota wants. I think that's what Minnesota needs. I think Murray needed a fresh start. I just think that with all the drama that was going up and down in Arizona, that he just needed to get out of there, kind of get a fresh start going. He seems super excited to be there, and that's always encouraging when you see a player want to go somewhere. So overall, I think that, paying $1.3 million for him is an absolute steal, and One Bar should be pretty pumped about that. I don't know if he'd want to roll with, I don't even know what to call him, JJ9, whatever you want to call him. I think you'd rather roll
a nickname yet.
Future Hall of Famer, I think, is what everybody's calling him.
Oh, geez. Yeah, but I think it's a good move for Minnesota, especially for the money. That's an incredible deal for them.
So what do you think, Dion?
I think it's a smart decision. Well, I don't even say that. I think it makes sense financially. $1.3 million. Why not? That said, though, I don't think it's going to work. I'm going to be honest with you. I do think that I do think this is the right coach for him. I think if it's going to happen, it's going to happen with this guy. Because, for the most part, he has proven that he's going to make it work with pretty much everybody that's out there. The thing is, when you deal with the Vikings now, if that offensive line starts to come together, which they have been investing in, and now you're saying they could add a swing tackle to that, if that thing does come together, I think a lot of guys could be successful within that offense. And obviously, we know what they have weapon-wise. Like, there's not much of a better spot, I think, to be put into. That said, though, I'm just not a Kyler Murray believer. Honestly, it has nothing to do with the Vikings at all. I just don't believe in Kyler Murray. I don't think this dude's really an NFL quarterback, to be honest with you. And I feel like every time we play him, we give him props. Like when we were garbage, One Bar. We were playing the Cardinals, and we beat the heck out of the Cardinals. We were like 30-12, and that just alone has soured me on like what the potential is with Kyler here. It was a disaster. We blew them out, and that's kind of what I think of when I think of Kyler. Like it's just the guy's kind of little, man, and the pocket collapses and things just get really messy really fast. Feels like the ball just starts throwing up. Now that's not fair to him. It's not like he hasn't had good stretches because he has. All right, I'm just taking it from a Lions fan perspective. Every time we play, I'm like, oh, it's going to be easy work right here. So either way, I think this is the right spot for him to be in. It makes a ton of sense financially to do it. Don't count out 9. All right, Nick, you know what they call him over there. Don't count out 9. Hey, you never know. You never know.
Dion, you've always been a big JJ McCarthy guy, man. I'm on board with it.
I wonder why.
Yeah, who knows?
Me too.
All right, so Bess, what do you think, man? Kyler Murray to the Vikings.
I like it. It's probably just in part, I think I drafted him last year in fantasy with Marvin Harrison. I expect a lot more out of those two, but I think I consider myself still kind of a Kyler Murray believer. And you guys said it for the value. It's like it's a $1.3 million cap hit with, no guarantee money. It's like, who cares, right? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Okay, you tried it at least. And quarterback, any type of competition, could honestly elevate JJ as well. So I like it. You guys said kind of the same things I'm thinking as well. And even if he, ends up winning that starting job, at least you got him for 2 months playing well until Call of Duty comes out. Then you can throw JJ in at that point, and then we're all good.
Nice. All right. So, yeah, those are some thoughts on Kyler Murray, but we'll continue to go about the Vikings and free agency. What is one move that you really like and is the best move you think the Vikings have made since free agency opened up?
I mean, they haven't made a ton. I mean, the easiest one to like is Kyler Murray, and we've beaten that thing. I'll say this on Kyler Murray. Final note is like he's coming in like this is his moment. This is his moment to make a ton of money. Like if he goes in and just completely sucks this year, or just is just average, it's like, all right, dude, you're just not, like Dion said, you're just not an NFL quarterback. Like this is his moment, and this is also Kevin O'Connell's moment, because if this doesn't work and the Vikings just lay a complete egg this year, they're going to really look at the coaching staff as well and be like, all right, we got to, what are we going to do here? A crappy quarterback just beat out JJ McCarthy, and you guys were still horrible. So this is it's a lot bigger move than just like, hey, great deal, whatever. Like there's a lot riding on the 2026 season for Kevin O'Connell, Kyler Murray, and JJ McCarthy. So it's going to be very interesting. So I'll say that's my favorite move, obviously, but I will throw in James Pierre because, like I said, we've signed a punter. We have a contract out to a restricted free agent, and James Pierre, the corner. But man, the more I look into Pierre, I'm getting too excited about him. He's going to let me down, but just a big cornerback that's going to add some depth at a position that they desperately need depth at. So yeah, I'm trying to get fancier, but it's Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's the best signing.
Yeah, I mean it's hard.
And Johnny Hecker, 1B.
Yeah, it's hard not to say that because they haven't been super active. So, is there a move that maybe you didn't like? I know you didn't sign a lot of guys, but I know Harrison Smith got released. Is there any move that you don't particularly like when it comes to some of these transactions?
Not really. They're all pretty much bargain bin free agents, to be honest. So it's good. It's depth moves. It's more. And even the guys they let walk, we all knew they were leaving. Jalen Naylor was going to go get some money. The defensive ends like Hargrave and Allen, we knew we weren't bringing them back at that price. So there really isn't anything that I was just like, damn, I can't believe that happened, or I can't believe they signed that guy. When it comes to a potential move, it could be a Jonathan Grenard if they do end up trading him. Whatever that compensation might be, that might be one that comes out. There was a lot of Vikings fans that were hoping that Jordan Addison might get dealt. I'm glad that didn't happen. They still got a 5th-year option to pick up. You still got a couple of years to see what we got shaken there. So no, there wasn't anything bad. One other good thing that I should say, one of the best moves they did make was the fact that Jonathan Allen, when he signed with the Bengals, there was something in his contract where we were going to have to eat $8 million. And the fact that the Bengals signed him, they actually end up saving $8 million. So whoever wrote that contract up should be in the Hall of Fame for contracts. I think it was Rob Brzezinski. So that was almost one of the biggest wins in free agency. That just came out of nowhere. So that was good. Is
there a move you wish the Vikings would have made?
Yeah, I wish so defensive line with Allen going bye-bye and Hargrave going bye-bye. Jalen Redmond's coming back. He's a very good defensive lineman, but that thing's butt ass naked now. Like they're going to obviously address that thing in the draft, but I was hoping they would at least just bring in some sort of mid-level veteran to possibly start, maybe not overly sexy, but a guy that could just come in and help improve that depth, because that thing's pretty depleted. And the same goes for wide receiver 3, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, fantastic. But after that, we got Ty Felton, who had 3 catches and couldn't see the field, and just a bunch of names. So I would have really enjoyed something like a Christian Kirk, a guy that's played with Kyler Murray, or just somebody to come in at wide receiver 3, and they just haven't addressed that yet.
Interesting. So yeah, not much going on with the Vikings when it comes to transactions, but it's not the team that makes the most moves in free agency necessarily wins it. So that just is what it is. So next we'll go to the Bears last, man. The Bears are actually seems like making quite a bit of moves, just signing some different guys. So give us a little recap about what the Bears have done since we've aired this show last week.
Yeah, no, I mean, Bears made 2 moves today. They brought in former Vikings defensive tackle James Lynch. One bar would love to hear. I see some claps, so that's good. Yeah,
I love James Lynch.
he was a beast at Baylor, 4th round pick. I mean, his senior or his last year at Baylor before he was drafted in 2019, I think he had like 13 and a half sacks, 20 tackles for loss. And, he really never hit his stride in the NFL. He's also only had 4 career starts, but the Bears bring him in on a 1-year contract, which I thought was a really good depth piece signing. They also brought back Jack Sanborn today. So former Chicago Bears linebacker is now back with the team. Lake Zurich native. Was pretty electric for the first couple of years, undrafted out of Wisconsin. They signed those 2 guys today. But the Bears, they've stayed a little bit busy. They just officially put out Cam Lewis's contract. They only signed him for 2 years, $6 million, so not too bad. But Bears have been rather quiet. I mean, they've had to be over the last couple of days, strictly because we don't have a lot of cap right now. I know there's a lot of rumors going around. The Bears were super in on Max Crosby, and they were going to go all in, this, and that. But he ended up going back to the Raiders, obviously. But Bears have been definitely focused more on the draft. They've met with a couple of key players. They met with Sam Hecht, a top center out of Kansas State. They've also speaking with Akeem Mesidor out of Miami, 5th-year senior, but heck of a player still. And then also they met with Yeager Burton out of Kentucky. So they've been starting to focus a little bit more of their focus on the draft. That being said, still, I mean, heck of a first week with Devin Bush, Kobe Bryant, so on and so forth. So Bears continue to stay busy. We'll see if they make any more moves, but I wasn't expecting them to make any more, and then they made 2 today. So pretty happy so far with upping our depth pieces, and they're probably going to focus on starters with our first 5 picks because we have 5 picks in the top 130 in the draft. So otherwise, Bears are probably going to be pretty quiet over the next couple of weeks.
So what would you think is the best move that the Bears have made?
Probably Kobe Bryant. I mean, that's a safety that Dennis Allen wanted. Fast, young. I mean, we didn't bring back Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, or Nashawn Wright for a reason, and you bring in this ball hawk. So I think that was a really good move. But I know a lot of people might not like it because it's not as flashy of a name, but linebacker Devin Bush from Cleveland that we picked up. The guy was just an absolute beast for Cleveland this past year. Got him on a pretty decent contract too. But brings a lot of intensity, a lot of speed, good ball hawk, fits perfectly in Dennis Allen's scheme. So that's my personal favorite. But for the team as an overall impact, it's definitely Kobe Bryant.
Is there a move the Bears made that you didn't like?
Ooh. I mean, they brought in just a ton of guys that a move that I wish they would already make is letting go of Noah Sewell, which after signing Jack Sanborn, I think they're going to get rid of him because we only would owe him $81,000 in dead cap, and we get $1.14 million back. So I just want the Bears to make that move already to get the cap back. And I also wish they would already get rid of Karana Magaji, but they haven't yet. So I'm more disappointed they haven't made those moves yet.
Gotcha. And lastly, is there any move that you wish the Bears would have made, whether it be the last week or really going forward before the draft?
I want them to trade Tyson Bagent. I want to see him go get a shot as a starter somewhere else. And also with the Bears not getting those comp picks from the NFL, we need another midday pick. And seeing that, Jimmy Garoppolo back when he was traded from New England to San Francisco, the Patriots got a day 2 pick. I believe it was a second rounder. So I would love to see the Bears go out and do the same thing, pick up a second rounder or, even a third rounder for Tyson Bagent. Not only give him a shot, but clear up some cap space and, even add more to the draft or even if it's next year, just get more draft picks because so far Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles have done a really good job drafting together. That's a move I want them to make. And I don't know if it's going to happen at this point anymore.
Interesting. So yeah, go ahead.
I'm what year is Amagaji in?
Karana Magaji is entering his 3rd year, but he was injured all of last year. He was injured most of his rookie year. So
I loved him coming out, bro.
Yeah, I was like, so when you said that name, I was like, dude, that was like yesterday we were looking at.
Yeah.
What?
No, listen, super great name coming out of college. That being said, he just can't stay on the field.
So you want him to cut him?
I would like to cut him because the Bears would get $1.5 million back.
That's a Packers signing right there if you guys caught
Hey,
it.
hold up.
That's a guy like week 14. You're like, all right, he's starting right tackle. You're like, all right, cool, man.
Nice.
We
So
tackle too now, Bass. You know what I mean? I'm just taking notes over here. That's it.
cool, man. So now we can go around. Now that free agency is kind of wrapping up here. Now we're kind of keeping our eyes on the NFL draft. I'd love to go around and figure out some of your biggest team needs going into April. So we can start with Dion again on this one.
So I would, just to go down the list here, I would start at quarterback. I mean, we have our top two, but typically like to come in with somebody for competition. It'll be a UDFA or a late draft pick. I could see this year it actually being a draft pick, bringing Bridgewater back where he's at age wise. Like this is going to kind of be a constant theme. I think going 1 year. Maybe they're trying to find something. They finally moved off. Well, I don't want to say finally, but they ended up moving off of Hendon Hooker. Just disappointing that just did not progress in his last preseason. So I think at some point we're going to see a swing back down that path, and it'll probably be later than when Hooker was as a third-round pick. But I think that's coming down the road. I feel pretty good at back. I didn't forget to mention that the tight end position for us, I think it was a big addition for us to add another piece that can actually be a legitimate threat in the passing game. And we did that here recently. I don't know if that was since the last video or not that we did, but adding another tight end was huge. I thought going into the draft before we had made a move, which I can't think of his name right now for some reason. I'll pull it up. But I thought that was going to be a position that we go after to have the value of the 12 to 13. Like it's kind of the thing now in the NFL. Everybody wants to play multiple tight ends. Everybody wants tight ends that can block and pass catch. We kind of had that, but we also had Laporta coming off an injury, and he didn't really get a ton of that with Brock. So I thought that would be a place that you consider a need going into the draft. Now lessened it. Still think it's on the table. Adding Dortch, again, it's kind of the same category. We're across the board. We've kind of replaced everything we've let walk in free agency. I think the most clear-cut need, though, is still defensive end, just because we don't have many numbers there. Unless you're considering Levi a defensive end, which even that, he didn't play last year at all. Year before, he was pretty good, but last year not playing at all. You're looking at Hassanin, you're looking at Wanham, you're looking at Hutchinson. Outside of that, you're looking at moving players like Wingo and calling him a defensive end. Like that's where you're at that position. So that's one that you just need somebody. And I would also say linebacker for the future. You have Alex Anzalone who walked in free agency. I think Malcolm might start this year, and I would actually be okay with it. I would think it would be pretty fun to see and finally get that opportunity. But I think draft-wise, that's the place to do it. You don't do that in free agency. You draft that piece. You see if you can turn into and hopefully find the next Alex Anzalone, who was a third-round pick. And then I'm still on the table of now they've added safety. They can still go down that road. I still would like to see them add another cornerback, specifically a slot corner. I would like to see that / safety. Someone that, right now McCreary, I like McCreary a lot coming out of Auburn. Don't think it's connected as well in the NFL. Now he's bounced around a little bit recently. I think he fits what we like to do, and he fits the play style that we have. But I think that's a position that I just think we can take a big stride in. And this year, it's probably like this most years. But you got a lot of flexibility between guys that do a little bit of both, wide corners playing nickel. You got a lot of those guys that do a little bit of both. I think there's a lot of guys that could fall into a category, which would make a lot of sense for the Lions to take a swing there. I mean, they made investments. Maybe that's going to be Rakestraw that goes into that position. And if it is that, then you probably need to add another wide corner, just because that position feels kind of open and it feels like a real spot to upgrade. So to me, it's clearly defensive end, cornerbacks on the table. I think it'd be fun to see another tight end, but then of course it's offensive line. We're going to have to go get a tackle. We're just going to have to. And I know you don't want to force yourself into doing that at the top, but it may have to be done. I don't think they've given up on Giovanni Manu. They'd like to keep that door open. Him and Larry Borum will be competing right now for starting tackle. But I mean, it's to the point, like I wouldn't have a problem if first pick was a tackle, second pick was a guard. Like I'd be completely on board with that. The guard position worries me because I don't know how important. Oh, I don't say important. I don't know how much urgency they have to fill that. I don't know how good they feel with Scruggs / Mahogany / Frazier. Not like Frazier a lot coming out, but just based on what you've seen, I don't think you can go in and just be like, here we go. One of these guys will do it. Just don't think you do that after last year. I don't think it's fair to yourself to do it. You got to throw somebody else in that mix and go four-way competition. Somebody else has to be added to that, I think. So offensive line's the biggest, and defensive end, and then probably beyond that corner safety.
All right. So Bass, we'll go to the Packers, man. Biggest team needs heading into the draft.
Yeah, so a lot of like all off season, it's been, talk about cornerback, and cornerback because, last year that was the issue with the team. Obviously, like we mentioned, talked about today that they signed St. Juice, and I don't think he's the savior per se, right? Like this guy's not going to come in and just save our defense. But one thing that rose above corner for me, honestly, since free agency has been edge rusher. Because, I talked about it with you guys, you trade away with Sean Gary, which I'm fine with. You get a 4th round pick from him. He's due a lot of money. You let Enigbari walk due to, okay, maybe he got paid too much money, that $10 million. I could definitely see that. And like I mentioned, you could go into week 1 with Baron Sorrell, who I do have high hopes for here in year 2, and Lucas Van Ness, which was getting a little hot before his foot injury last year. I'm a Lucas Van Ness guy, but he hasn't put together a full season of like, okay, he can be a starting edge rusher, right? So you have a lot of uncertainty there. I think Colin Oliver is an interesting guy that we drafted last year that, kind of plays like similar to kind of Micah coming out of Penn State, like off-ball linebacker type, can rush after the quarterback. So you have a little bit of depth there. You brought back Brenton Cox Jr., but outside of that, I mean, I think early on you need edge rusher help, and hopefully Micah can return week 1. I think if there's a player that's going to do it, it's him. But what if he doesn't? What if he's back week 3, week 4? Cornerback, of course, is still a need. I think they have to address that in the first 2 to 3 picks. Again, the Packers don't have a first round pick, so this year's draft and next year's for that matter is just a little bit different process. I'm so used to figuring out which first round prospect the Packers need to go after. And this year, I don't even know any of them because I haven't even looked at any of them because it's like, why Packers aren't trading up for that. So it's like, hey, I'm starting at second round, like 45 and moving back. But cornerback, nose tackles, a definite need for the Packers. I think they don't really value that true position that much. Nazir Stackhouse is like a nose tackle, but undrafted last year. We brought him in. John Ford was a 7th round pick. They never really draft nose tackles too high. They kind of like the guys that are versatile, right? That can play both, 0 tech, 3 tech, whatever it may be. They brought in Hargrave. He's not a nose tackle by any means. He's going to be your pass rushing type of defensive lineman, similarly to Devontae Wyatt. So we have plenty of those, but I think the Packers need to invest and get like a true run stuffing D lineman. O-line, I talked about it again. The Packers need depth there. If Jordan Morgan sucks, who's your left tackle? You still have Darren Kennard as your 6th lineman. Maybe you could plug him in there. But then for guard, you have Aaron Banks and Anthony Belton at guard. Now you re-sign Sean Ryan to play full-time center. Who do you have after them? If one of those go down or doesn't play well or whatever, for whatever reason. You have Jacob Monk, who hasn't really shown he can be a starter in this league yet. Maybe here in year 3, he takes a little bit of a jump, and he has some versatility between guard and center, but I think you need to add more depth into that room. I think you could add a linebacker. They brought back Nick Neiman and Christian Welch, who are like special teamer guys, but you let Quay Walker go. You let him go to the Raiders. You expect more out of Tyron Hopper this year. You know what you have in Edgerrin Cooper. Jonathan Gannon plays a lot of 5-2 fronts anyway, so you still have Isaiah McDuffie. And then tight end, I mentioned it already. I think tight end, running back's another one. You let Emmanuel Wilson go to the Seahawks. So right now it's kind of like, who's running back 2? Marshawn Lloyd, does he actually exist? Chris Brooks is a guy that great pass protector, but can he be a running back 2? And then quarterback 2. It's the final position I have there. Will the Packers invest in the draft or will they trade for someone? Everyone keeps throwing around Anthony Richardson as the next, project for the Packers, which I'd be about it if it's like a 7th round pick, just like Malik Willis was. Whatever, do it. But you could also go someone like Taylor Green in the draft and just kind of have that in the draft. So, there's some needs for the Packers that, they didn't touch up on too well in free agency, but I think edge and cornerback are like the striking ones right off the rip.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier that tight end might be a need. Hey, Anthony Richardson could help you out there as well. So
there we go. Little Tim Tebow conversion. Let's get it.
Yeah. Hey, man, he'll be the 2nd best Florida quarterback to ever play tight end in the NFL. So it'll be good stuff there. So we'll move on to one bar, man. Biggest needs ahead of the NFL draft.
Yeah, this will be quick and dirty because like it's defensive line right now. I mean, Levi Drake Rodriguez and Ingram Dawkins are slated to start on the defensive line right now. And if you guys have never heard of them, I don't blame you. But they got to hit the defensive line. There's I love a lot of those guys in the round 1, round 2 that should be on the board. Hopefully they address it. That should be a position they probably double dip on. They got a couple 3rd round picks as well. So defensive line. And then you look at the safety position, Harrison Smith. He still is not officially retired, even if he does end up coming back, which a lot of Vikings fans are hoping. The dude's 37 years old. You got to be realistic. So the safety position as well. I love Dylan Thieneman, love McNeil Warren. There's a couple of guys at the safety position. Even when you get round 2, round 3, there's some very good safeties in this draft. So either I'm just drinking a ton of purple Kool-Aid, or it seems like the needs that the Vikings need, like defensive line, even if they wait till round 2, safety, round 1, round 2, it seems like the stars are aligning as far as their biggest needs and the value that will be there. That said, they'll probably draft a tight end and a fullback. Who knows? But like there's some very good players at positions of need. So defensive line, the safety position. And then you got to go to center because right now we do not have a center. Ryan Kelly retired. He's gonzo. He didn't play much anyways. Michael Juergens is currently the center, which would be an all-out disaster. But again, in round 3, there's some very good centers that are usually projected around that spot. The Jake Slaughters of the world, the Connor Lews. There's some good centers that could be available. So they're definitely going to have to address the center position. And then you get into the weeds a little bit where you look at they need a running back. Aaron Jones is coming back, but obviously that's not long-term. He had some injury issues. They need a wide receiver 3. And one sneaky one I'll say to finish up with is inside linebacker. Blake Cashman has been fantastic when healthy, but he has had some injury issues. They brought back Eric Wilson. They need some depth. If one of those two guys were to go down, it would be an absolute mess. It would be a mess. So a lot of needs, more depth pieces. But starter-wise, defensive line, center, safety, they got to hit on those. They got to hit on them early. You got those 2 third-round picks, and hopefully they can end up getting a starter out of it. The Vikings drafts over the last few years with Kwesi have been just disgusting. So hopefully they can turn this thing around and do something. And Nick, I got to say, man, I didn't know James Lynch signed with the Bears. He was one of my favorite dudes. That breaks my damn heart. I hope he does well.
I'm not mad about it. Dude's huge, 6'4", 300, and he's just like a big, like, he looks like a bear. I'm like, heck yeah, this guy rocks. So yeah, very, very, I mean, like a lot of people were like, huh? But I was like, I think it's a decent rating. So happy you're happy about it, One Bar.
He always got after the quarterback. For some reason, the Vikings just never really played the dude. He was always just buried on the depth chart. And then DJ wanted him to the Lions, double heartbreaker. I wanted the Vikings to bring him back this year. We need some help at the edge rusher position.
How about Hargrave? How about that?
It was fine to see Hargrave go. I don't think he got a fair shake with Minnesota. Flores, you read everything about him, like Flores doesn't use his defensive ends the way he should. They're kind of just tokens, and they let the edge rushers do all the dirty work. So, yeah. James Lynch for start.
All right, so ending off with the Bears, man. Biggest team needs heading into the NFL draft. Ooh, he's
nice.
At a loss for
words.
How's he
doing that?
No need.
He's at a loss for words right now.
They are good.
Yeah.
No needs at all.
Yeah, they're all set. They're built. They won the NFC North. They beat the Packers. Like that's all they need in life, right? So
and a center.
Quarterback.
Yeah, center. Yeah, they signed Drew Dahlman, and next thing you know, he's out of there. So we'll go ahead and get to a couple super chats here. You said looks like this is one for Bass. He says, you add wide open Loveland to your board yet? Any retort to that one?
What board? Like what do you mean?
I don't know. I think he's been sipping a Jim Beam. So we'll move on from that one. We got McCarthy is trash. Thank the Lord we got Kyler.
You ready?
That's not nice.
What do you think, One Bar? Is he trash or is he not trash?
I actually, so here's my thing. I was trying, me and my co-host Lupkus always go back and forth on this because and I'm not giving up on McCarthy. You shouldn't give up on McCarthy. 10 starts. The dude's like 13 years old. Give him a little bit of a shot here. But here's where I always were looking because it always the quarterbacks come back when they have a change of scenery. Oh, Sam Darnold goes and does it great. I looked it up. Alex Smith and Drew Brees were two dudes that stuck with their team and got benched very, very early, came back and ended up playing very good for the Niners and for the Chargers before he ended up going to the Saints. So that gave me a little bit of hope. That's what I needed, just a little bit of hope.
Nice. All right. So, yeah, just another year, Chicago. Nick, we were going around asking biggest team needs heading into the NFL draft, and you're at a loss for words. So we're gonna let you get redemption here. What do you think?
Yeah, lots of words. My Wi-Fi decided to cut out. Probably should check to make sure I paid my bill. What we need before the draft is definitely defensive tackle. We were one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL this past year. Grady Jarrett and Javon Dexter just always seem to be missing guys. Like, they're good defensive linemen, but we need someone that's out there that's a true run stopper. So at 25, I think that's where the Bears should address things. But also, they've been taking a lot of looks at edge and safeties. They've been linked a ton to some of the top safeties in the draft. So I wouldn't mind if Chicago does go after a safety at number 25. I know there's Bears fans that want a big, mean defensive tackle, and I think that safety and defensive tackle are definitely going to be our first two picks. I just don't know the order at the moment. So those are two positions that the Bears have to go out and address. Someone to put across from Kobe Bryant, someone to having a 4-year rookie contract because Javon Dexter's in the last year of his deal. Grady Jarrett next year. If he doesn't work out again, he underperformed this past year. Bears could cut him and save a ton of cap. So need to find that next person. Maybe James Lynch is the guy, one bar. I don't know. But we definitely need defensive tackle help. Linebacker, I think pretty good now. We have 6 linebackers on the roster at the moment. I mean, definitely could go out and get one. But this draft is stacked with edges. So I think the first 3 picks are going to go no specific order: defensive tackle, safety, edge. And then we do need a center. And that's why, like, you're looking at guys like Jaeger Burden out of Kentucky, who is a projected late 3rd round pick, early 4th round pick. Bears have both of those. But Sam Hecht out of Kansas State, would love to have him too. I think I heard someone talk about, Jack Slaughter out of Florida, another good player that the Bears could potentially bring in that's been linked to them before. So overall, there's a lot of different moves that the Bears need to make, but safety, defensive tackle, edge, and center are all for sure needs for the Bears. Everything else is just a luxury. We brought in Raymond from Detroit. That's kind of our wide receiver 3/4, so I'm not too worried about it. We have Ja'Day Walker too. But we do need another blocking tight end. We lost Durham Smith to the Ravens. Other than that, I mean, like, this Bears team, for once, it's kind of nice. We don't have to worry about like the complete offensive line. We don't have to worry about wide receivers. We have running backs. We have a quarterback. So those are the big needs with the Bears 7 picks that they're probably going to take at the moment.
Nick, have you seen Jake Slaughter?
I've seen him.
Like what he looks like? He's like a 42-year-old father of 3. Just look him
Yeah,
up.
but dude was electric at the combine.
I know. No, I'm not saying I wouldn't have the pack. Wouldn't want the Packers to draft him either. I just saw him up on the podium. I was like, where's Jake Slaughter? Like, who's
He
that?
looks like every single person I see ice fishing every year. And I'm like, this guy is Midwest, thick and thin. Would love to have him on the Bears. But also, he would look like he would fit on any roster in the NFC North. So 100%. But Baz, just, I do ice fish a lot in Wisconsin. So definitely he might be fitting more of the Packers look.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Why not?
Ice fishing must be cool. It's 85 degrees out here right now in Florida. So we're in a different land over here. Okay. We're not built the same.
28 inches of snow, 29 inches of snow.
Yeah, nothing like that. So we're gonna get spicy here though, guys. We're gonna get spicy here. We are going to go ahead and rank the teams post free agency from 4 up to 1. So what we can do is we can start from the bottom up when it comes to giving our power rankings here within the division. Dion, I think you guys technically finished 4th in the NFC North. Don't know how that happened, but that's a discussion for another time. How would you power rank the teams in this division right now?
Okay. I'd put the Vikings 4th because there's not much to. I mean, look, they got to hit the draft. Like it's fair. There's nothing going on right now with the Vikings. We just got to. There's nothing to talk about. Nothing's really moved the needle right now. But they did beat us both times, which is still wild to me. I still don't understand how y'all beat us on Thanksgiving. It was like the most disappointing loss ever. So I'll put the Vikings at 4. And this is tricky, man. You put me on the spot here. I wasn't really thinking like that. Let's go. I'm going to go Bears at 3 just because there's haters in the comments right now. So that's just for you, a little handoff, you know what I mean? Giving the baton to them. No, I mean, look, I feel like they've earned a little bit of that. You see it, Nick. Nick, the chat's going a little crazy right now. They need to be, kind of settled a little bit. Like, y'all aren't allowed to be excited about free agency, okay? It's just not a thing. Like, y'all can be excited after the draft. Can't be excited right now about free agency. Kobe Bryant, awful. Just an absolute awful pickup, by the way. Just throw that out there. Khalif
You're
Raymond.
just jealous.
Yeah, and then we'll put the Packers too. Not a ton going on, all right, but I like what they've done so far. Okay, and they always do draft well. So I feel like some of the big names that have gotten paid elsewhere, like we'll see what they do at defensive end specifically. But even as Bass is laying out there, like if Baron Sorrell and Lucas Van Ness have to start, like you could say you didn't see him at all coming out of college. This isn't fair. If you didn't see him at all coming out of college, they were both rookies. You'd be pretty excited about that. Like, all right, we got some here. So there you go. That's some optimism. And then, of course, right where we should be here. Number 1.
All right.
I love it.
So, yeah, you heard it there first, man. I mean, 1 bar, are you going to allow him to shove you guys in a basement that easily, man? Give us your division power rankings.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, I love Dion. I feel the Lions got worse. Honestly, I mean, I've never been so happy to see a guy like David Montgomery get the hell out of this division. He always tore us a new one. I mean, when you look at the guys that left, I can't get too cocky here. We finished 3rd barely. But I honestly do think the Lions got worse. We'll see. So I got the Lions in the basement. I'd love to get fancy here, but I'm gonna really go with how it finished. I'm gonna go the Lions in the basement. I'll put the Vikings at 3. Kyler Murray, yes, a lot of intrigue there, but a lot of things he has to prove. And then I'll go with the Packers, and then I'll go with the Bears. I do like the Alexander signing by the Packers probably more than I should, and I think the Bears put in some work. So I'm going to leave it as is. I'd love to get fancy, but I'd be lying.
Wow. All right. So
Lying right now, one bar. You didn't know it, but you're doing it.
We'll move back up to we'll move back up to Bass, man. Hey, we need to decide who is at the basement here, and of course who's at the top and everything in the middle.
It's close between the Lions and the Vikings. Honestly, it's close because honestly, I do like the Kyler move just because of the monetary, but I think it has to be overall Minnesota last because again, they just have a big hole at defensive line. I like the Murray, but they just haven't done much, and they didn't really have like to your defense, one bar, like I don't have a real GM, so it's like I feel like they kind of have to be last. I'm sorry, like they kind of do.
Go with your heart, man. Go with your heart.
I am. I'm going to do it. Detroit again, kind of similar to what one bar said. Letting Montgomery go, I think, is a mistake. Anzalone, I don't know what you thought of him, Dion, but he always pissed me off. Exactly. So, like, you guys letting him go. Meek Robertson, like, solid corner. You guys let a lot of people go. Roy Lopez was even, pretty solid. I like the Cade Mays signing, and that's kind of it. Pacheco's all right. So, second there. I'm not putting the Bears first, Nick. It's not happening. I do like your guys.
You want to. You want to.
I think letting Brisker go for $5.5 million per year is dumb.
Bro,
I don't like him. I think he sucks. But for $5.5 million, like you guys have Kobe Bryant, and then who else? I mean, who else do you have? Who's starting? Who's your starting second?
Hicks. I'm just kidding.
Who else, Nick?
Who else? Who's there? I'm just saying, safety was a big reason why you guys had such a great defense last year due to turnovers. You let both walk. I like Kobe Bryant. Don't get me wrong. I think you guys made solid signings.
We also got cooked in coverage.
I know you did. That's why you got rid of Nahshon Wright. I get it. Like you guys, that's a good move, right?
That was
but for the money, yeah, no, I like their solid moves. Kobe Bryant's a great move. Neville Gallimore sounds like a Harry Potter character, so I don't really care about that. But the Green Bay Packers, they're going one, man. They're going one because you got to pick for Rashawn Gary. You got a solid signing in St. Just. You got Hargrave. Hopefully, he turns his career around, returns to that 2022 level with Jonathan Gannon. There's still holes here, but they set themselves up well for the draft picks that they have.
All right, so we'll go with the NFC North champion Chicago Bears with Nick over here, man. Are you gonna keep the Packers back up there? Or are you gonna knock them down a peg?
I'm gonna knock them down. I'm gonna knock them straight into the ground. We're gonna drill them into the ground. One bar. I'm gonna put you at 3. I'm feeling very generous. I think you're very good at football. Actually, just because Bash called Neville a Harry Potter character, I'm putting him at 3. One bar. You're at number 2. That's Dion, great. You are going to be so low in the ground, we're not going to be able to find you. We're going to have a metal detector and go, wow, where are these kitty cats? They are deep in the ground. Wow. Over at the end, I think that the Lions they got worse. I'm just putting that out there. Yes, Dave Montgomery leaving. I was like, what are you doing? I didn't understand, Dion, the offensive coordinator you guys hired. Like he comes from Arizona, I believe, and Arizona's offense, like all over.
Well, that's because they had Kyler Murray, so it's just one of those things where.
Yeah, hey, what's going on here, man? This is all about optimism here. Let's go.
I have the Bears still at number 1. I think that we haven't even had the draft yet, and the Bears still, I think, have the overall best roster right now. Like we kept all of our core together. We still have our coaching staff. That's what really matters here too. So the Bears are number 1. I got Minnesota at number 2 because I think Kyler Murray is going to pull a very, very just shocking season. It's just I feel like Minnesota just does this with quarterbacks. I also think the Lions are going to be at number 4. I'm sorry, Dion. I don't see how they got better. Alex Anzalone, but hand up, do not like him either. So I think we can all go in agreement there. When I heard that comment, I was like, yep, that guy stinks. But Baz, listen, we know I talked about some of the moves that you guys made, but without Parsons out there, I just am like, what?
He'll be there.
Yeah. Oh, he'll be there.
He'll be there.
Oh, okay.
I
He's
don't know
going to
about
have
week
more
one,
epidurals on his knees too. Is that
that even
magic
what is that?
healing power?
How do you even do that?
I don't know. You tell me. He's going to be back though. That's I'm wondering.
He's
saying
gonna be
gonna
back.
I'm like, oh, he tore that ACL. That's going to be a little bit of a.
Hey,
ooh.
the Bears are the only team that didn't add something from Arizona, so I think that's the key here, right?
We
OC,
actually gave
Gannon.
Arizona 2 players, Devin
So,
Duvernay
yeah,
and Andrew Dillon.
that's the problem, right? Murray, Gannon, OC. Forget his stupid name, but
And the receiver.
and
He looks like
receiver.
the guy from he's got a big blue head. Megamind, was it?
He kind of does, yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
like-
I know you're talking about, but
Very
Mr. Blue Megamind. All
Highly
right.
intelligent.
All right.
highly intelligent.
Highly. All right. That's
All right. Well, sweet. Got a little heat at the end. Look, a 1 bar. At least you guys are going up in everybody's rankings. The Lions staying at the basement on several of them. So not much love there. But overall, obviously, where teams are built, it's through the draft, right? And that's where we're really going to figure some things out. But with that said, it's been a great show. Next show we'll have over here is the Wednesday before the NFL draft. And of course, the Wednesday after the NFL draft to recap it all, then a little bit of a hiatus. So with all that said, look, no sponsor this show. So if you guys want to sponsor, come over here. You know, Manscaped, Blue Chew, Raid Shadow Legends. Come on, guys. Go over here and support the NFC North Roundtable. But on the road, though, appreciate you guys all for being here and being a part of the NFC North Roundtable, a part of the Roundtable Sports family. We appreciate you guys so much, and see you guys in April. Peace.